All right, I'm looking for a motion now to rise from closed session, and we're going to get Councillor Watt on the record here and Councillor Hart, all in favor? Thank you. And matters arising from closed, that the minutes of our closed session dated April 23rd be adopted. Councillor Lambshead and Councillor Black, all in favor? Thank you. And I will turn it over to our clerk for our resolution, please.
Okay, so I will read the motion. That the report titled Results of Non-Eligible Sources Negotiable Request for Proposal be received, and that NRFP 03-2025 not be awarded, and that commencing January 1, 2026, the county discontinue the service of non-eligible source collection, and that staff be directed to notify the affected businesses, providing the reasoning. And the recorded vote results.
That was moved by, seconded by first.
That was moved by Councillor Whalen and seconded by Councillor Burt. It was Councillor Graham, yes. Councillor Watt, yes. Deputy Warden Senes, no. Councillor Whalen, yes. Councillor Black, no. Councillor Amiot, yes. Councillor Wilford, yes. Councillor Lambshead, no. Councillor Martin, Councillor Huntley, yes. Councillor Burt, yes. Councillor Webb, yes. Councillor Armstrong, no. Councillor Watson, yes. And Warden Clark, no. And it was carried.
Thank you. We'll move to item 11 and consent items. We have not received any to be pulled. Still seeing none here. So just a motion, please, to receive all. Deputy Warden Senes and Councillor Huntley, all in favor? Thank you. And I'll turn it over to our CAO, Sheridan Graham, and just the ice storm and her report regarding that.
Thank you, through you, Warden. You have all received the report in your package. Thank you for everyone that did attend the debrief session. It was a really great session to have. It allowed us to identify our strengths during the ice storm, some of the areas that were weaknesses, and then opportunities to prepare for and move forward. So the recommendation before you is that it be received and that it be circulated to the local municipalities, Curve Lake and Hiawatha First Nation, our MPPs, partner agencies and utilities, Minister Don Watt and Premier Ford for their information. Thank you.
Okay. And a motion for that, please. Looking at Councillor Watson and Councillor, sorry. Okay. And Councillor Graham. All in favor? Thank you. And I just want to thank Sheridan also for everyone attending, but this was a great report and I want to thank Sheridan for that. Sheridan and I happened to be on a NAMO Zoom conference yesterday talking about emergency situations, a couple of other municipalities. So we have some things with our strat session that we will talk about there, but communication is the key, I think, was the message that we got out of that. And in attending that, I come out feeling good about Peterborough County and its municipalities, lower tiers. So anyway, thank you again, and thanks, Sheridan. And now we'll turn it over to Ryan Maloney, our Deputy Chief of Operations for our paramedics. Ryan.
Council, I stand here before you for the pre-purchase approval of supply and delivery of 4 ambulances. Currently, there's a 15-month waiting period on ambulances. These are ambulances to be purchased in 2026. But we have to provide a 30% deposit on the ambulances. So that's what we're here for today to approve. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Ryan. So here with your hand out. and we'll open it up for discussion. And like everything else that you have to get in the checkout line before we get to the top, and it's 15 months or
That's
we.
right. As soon as we receive the deposit, then we get in the queue.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right. Yes, Sheridan, you, oh, sorry, go ahead, Matthew.
Thank you, Warden. Through you.
Great, Councillor Graham.
Thank you. No problem at all. Just a question, with regards to the 1 million, is that the 30% that we're referring to for the pre-approval, or is that, I'm assuming that's just the 30%? I just didn't know about, if we're not expecting delivery this year and next year, is there a consideration for, you know, a splitting of the cost over 2 budget cycles, or are they looking for the entire amount up front? I'm assuming we're only approving the 30%, so just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. I think Ben is going to speak to that.
Yeah,
Yes.
so through the warden, the $1 million is the total cost from the ambulances. But in order to issue a purchase order, we need council's approval for the full amount, even though we'll only be expending the 30% immediately.
Okay, thank you. Any further clarification? If not, then a motion for that. Deputy Warden Senes, Councillor Amiot, all in favor? Thank you. That was an easy ask, Ryan. There. And we'll now turn it over to Rhonda, our, go ahead, Rhonda, please, our General Manager for Economic Development. Yes?
Declaring.
Oh, yes.
On this one, I'm the
Yes.
Secretary to the Board of Community Futures.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Councillor Black has declared his
Okay, thank you. So this report is intended to formalize the continuation of funding to Community Futures Peterborough to provide the province's Small Business Advisory Center work. During the wind down of PCAD, the province selected Community Futures as the preferred agency to deliver entrepreneurial programming for the greater area. A stipulation of this transfer was that both the county and the city continue to contribute financially to those programs as was done through PCAD. Community Futures is doing a great job delivering workshops and consultations in the county. The work is reflected in the number of county applications received for Summer Company and Starter Company Plus, as well as increased attendance at workshops held and hosted throughout the county. The city has also signed a similar agreement and is contributing their proportional share. And one caveat for the county contribution is that should the province rescind funding, that the county contribution would cease as well. And it's just recommended that the county continue to support and formalize this agreement moving forward.
Okay, so basically straightforward, as long as the 3 partners are still contributing, it will continue. So Councillor Armstrong.
I think Councillor Graham might have been.
Oh, Councillor Graham.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Warden Clark. Just 2 questions. Well, one question, I guess. How much is the city's contribution towards Community Futures in each of those same years? I'll ask the second question.
Thank you through the warden. I do not have the exact amount, but it is in a proportionate share that was similar to PCAD funding. So it's a little bit more than the county, but I believe it's around the $40,000 mark.
Okay, then that does merit. My second question was, it looks like we're getting about a third or less of their services. When you look at where the location, the geographic location of the recipients of them. So I just wonder if that's a fair allocation going forward. And also striking because it's really a rural economic development organization, putting 2/3 of their resources towards city recipients. I know you can't exactly answer that, but I just am concerned about the proportionate share we're paying versus the city based on ROI.
Through you, my understanding, the split is based on population, so their amount is based on their population, ours is based on ours. And we can't speak to how they select within the county and city what businesses to fund. Their head offices in the city, so they do have a lot of kind of walk-in people that do come in. But we can express the concern that we may not feel that there's enough awards in the county. It really depends on who's applying to, so, but we can work with them on that.
I think it would be appropriate for us to ask the question at least.
Councillor Armstrong, totally agree. I think we asked the question to make them aware of it, but I do know that there has been more and more county businesses that have been successful. I have seen in attending that has been increasing, but it certainly doesn't hurt to keep them cognizant of that. So to that point, would you like to make the Councillor Graham, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, and through you, Warden, and I can speak to that a little bit as well, Warden. I've had a similar experience. It is application based, and there's nothing fettering applications from the city being given preferential treatment from applications from the county. And I know of residents in the county who have utilized the program to start businesses in the city, which, you know, I think we can understand that there's a regional benefit to that sort of program. So being population based, this is one of the ones that I think we can sort of skate a little, you know, or yin and yang a little bit back and forth with regards to the benefit, because it can be beneficial for residents outside of the city to create businesses that may be in a different township or in the city itself. So I think the Starter Company Plus program is so fantastic and so essential to spawning and capitalizing on the entrepreneurial spirit that we need in the community to start new businesses locally and employ more people locally and create more as we're looking to build our independence from an economic standpoint as well. So there's no harm in answering the question, but like you said, it is application based, and there's lots of applicants that I know from the township that live in the township or live in other townships, have started businesses in the township with that money, even though they weren't residents and then have become residents. It's a very, it's not a significant amount of money, but it is a significant contributor to the local economy. And I'd be happy to make the motion.
Okay, thank you. Motion is on the floor, moved by Councillor Graham, second by Councillor Hart. All in favor? Thank you. And to that point, I think with Rhonda involved as well, she will certainly be there representing and supporting our businesses. The other thing too is the ROD, Rural Ontario Development. Minister Thompson made that announcement yesterday. And 20 million. So we will be looking at opportunities, certainly, and all the lower municipalities as well should be looking at that opportunities for rural Ontario, specifically for rural Ontario. So that was a great announcement as well. Thank you. And turning it back to Carrie again, please. Did I call the vote? Can't remember if I did. Thank you.
Okay, so this report is comments based on the proposed amendments to the Blue Box regulation that were just posted on the environmental registry. And the comment period is open until July 4th. So the resolution is that staff be directed to submit this report as our formal response. And that we forward a copy of the report to each local township and our local MPPs. So essentially the proposed changes to the regulation that the province is suggesting are based on conversations or feedback they've heard from producers that there are unanticipated cost increases to operating the Blue Box program. That could negatively impact businesses and consumers in Ontario. And so the ministry is proposing changes to help manage the costs. And they're stating this is a first step as the government considers broader measures to help stabilize system costs. So the major changes they're proposing to the regulation are that they are going to delay any recovery targets by 5 years. So right now, producers have to report every year the weight of all the Blue Box material they're supplying into the system. And the recovery targets are set that they have to prove they're recycling a certain percentage of that material. So whether there's different targets for different materials. But the ministry is proposing that there not be any targets until 2031 to allow producers more time to plan and make appropriate investments needed for collection and recycling. And they're proposing that producers make best efforts to achieve targets and recycle. So with no targets or enforcement, we're essentially trusting the producers to do the right thing. Economically, if this is not feasible, it's likely material will go to landfill. There were previous targets that municipalities were meeting that were lower than the new producer targets. So we're suggesting at least have those previous targets in place to ensure that there's some accountability. They are also removing planned expansion to multi-residential buildings, schools, and long-term care homes. So the current regulation states starting in 2026, any new multi-residential facility or long-term care home, retirement home is eligible to have recycling under the producer responsibility program. but they're saying now that they will not be expanding that. Right now, they're only collecting locations municipalities previously serviced, so they won't be adding any new multi-residential locations. So these residents wouldn't be eligible for the producer responsibility recycling program. So we're suggesting this approach is not fair, equal to every resident in Ontario, and that producers should be required to service all residents in the province. This would be adding to the list of non-eligible source properties, so that will be going up with this change. They're also removing planned expansion for public space collection. So previously they were required to add the number of recycling bins in public spaces like parks, downtowns, based on a per capita for each municipality. But they're proposing that they won't be expanding that at all. So again, this change is keeping in status quo and not committing to improving or enhancing recycling in the province. They're suggesting to reduce the recovery target for flexible plastic to 5% and also delay recovery targets by 5 years. So that's like plastic bags, food wraps, pouches. So with a 5% recovery target and not until 5 years, it's likely that material will continue to be collected in the blue box and then potentially go to landfill. They also want to allow energy recovery to count towards diversion up to 15%. So rather than recycling those products, the producers are suggesting that they be able to send 15% of the recyclable material to an incinerator or to produce fuel because they've suggested that the regulation doesn't recognize factors like packaging design or contamination in determining what can be recycled. Our comment is that producers have the influence on how their own packaging is designed and could make efforts to reduce packaging or make packaging more recyclable, which was the original intention behind this legislation. And it is a sure way to reduce their costs. And that recyclable material should not be incinerated because that doesn't contribute to a circular economy, which was also the intention of this regulation. So ultimately, there are no immediate financial impacts to the county. However, the changes contribute to more recyclable material potentially going to the landfill, which would have impacts on landfill site life and ultimately potentially result in increases to the county.
Thank you, Carrie. And questions? One comment I'll make, and thanks to Carrie when we done our delegation to the minister around this and brought many of these concerns forward that they now seem to be addressing. So, at least maybe they'll listen to us a little bit more and we can be more of a partner. So any comments? All right, then, just the motion certainly is in the packages, moved by Councillor Welford and second by Councillor Black. All in favor? Thank you. We do have a notice of motion brought forward by Councillor Amiot and Councillor Watson. Councillor Amiot, and then I'll get Heather.
Oh, okay, thank you. Through you, yes. Now, I asked this to be brought forward. I had some informal discussions with a couple of the other mayors about this. In North Kawartha, we've been wanting to kind of get on our comprehensive zoning bylaw for a long time, recognizing we don't have an official plan back and all of that, but knowing that there is a lot of work to do, basically we're going to need to rewrite our whole, our whole bylaw. And so we're recognizing that, most of the municipalities and volunteers are going to have to do the same. So if there was an opportunity perhaps for, economies of scale, maybe to come together to share this workload, look at a joint RFP, recognizing that it's not going to be exactly the same for every municipality. Certainly, we would all have different input, but we were just at a Lake Alliance meeting on the weekend, four municipalities anyway. One of the things that was talked about was certainly that harmonization amongst, you know, sort of the rules of the regs, you know, looking across the lake and so how come they can do that there, but we can't do it here, or vice versa. I think, you know, in terms of consistency with their definitions, there is a push, I think, you know, even at the provincial level, we talked about, you know, management, about, you know, the official plans with neighboring municipalities, trying to make sure that, you know, that things sort of flow together. So just thought it might be an option for the local tiers or local townships to consider, not making a decision right now, but this is what you have back and forth with the wording. Have it go back to your councils, think about it, talk to your staff, think about it over the summer and come back to us and see, maybe there'll be a couple, maybe, you know, involved, but I also recognize, I don't know what other folks are doing, we simply can't. We don't have the staff power to do it, and you know, and if we're all doing it at the same time to have a comprehensive zoning bylaws rewritten at the same time, just thought, you know, this makes sense. So that's why this is forward here. It's no have tos. It's not like the county's taking it over. We just wanted to rely on county staff and their expertise when it comes to crafting RFPs on behalf of all of us anyway. So that's why it's there.
Thank you, and good thought process behind it. So thank you. And Councillor Watson.
Well, thank you through you. I echo everything that Councillor Amiot said, and I can say that this is once again Councillor Amiot spearheading some great alliances for the lower tiers to come together. We know we're all going to be needing to go through that comprehensive zoning bylaw. One thing that the council didn't reference is specifically is, you know, despite looking at moving forward with a comprehensive zoning bylaw for a harmonized bylaw, we'd still work to have those individual areas recognized within the lower tier townships. So, you know, speaking for Doe Dummer, there would be certain policies that we'd be looking to have individually within that, and subsequently the other participating municipalities. But it just makes sense to help leverage economies of scale as well as harmonize some of the rules that are happening around our shared boundaries.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Watson. So I'm going moved and seconded. So I'll ask for any comments or speaking to the motion. I think it's a great idea. Councillor Black.
Thank you, through you, Warden. In looking at the comprehensive bylaw, there's 45 pages of definitions that could all be looked at and be similar for municipalities, but there is a certain part of each plan that is specific to the municipality. So the RP, I think, needs to identify that as they're looking at the general nature of the document, but understanding that it will have to go back to municipalities for those specific areas. So I don't know how you word the RFP to deal with that, because we don't all want to pay to have a cut and paste from the first payer to the second payer to the third to the eighth payer. That cost can, I think, be a reduction, but each municipality will still have to pay to have it.
There still has to be a customized for each municipality.
Yeah, so I think that's part of the RFP focus. I think needs to have.
Just ask Ian to comment on that.
Excellent point. By dealing with zoning bylaws over the years, is that absolutely you see a repetition of definitions and you see who the authors are, and possibly you're paying for work that was already done. My question related to the proposed resolution, though, is, so the way the act reads is that when a new OP is adopted, you're given 3 years to do amendments to your zoning bylaw. So in order to properly craft an RFP, I think we're going to need to understand, is everybody looking at a brand new zoning bylaw, or are some of you only looking at tweaking your bylaw? Because that level and scope of work can be vastly different. And for us to write that bylaw, I think we need a good understanding of what each municipality's plans are.
Okay, so that will have to then come back, go to the lower tier and come back. Okay, that's fair. Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? I'll call the vote. All in favor? Thank you. And it's passed. All right, moving to announcements. Looking, yes, Councillor Vogel.
This Saturday, we have a farmer's market from 8 to 12, and we have over a dozen vendors. And that's behind our town hall in Asphodel, Norwood. And on Canada Day, we have pancake breakfast from 8 to 11.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Watson.
Well, thank you. Through you, the weekend of July 4th, 5th, and 6th in Douro is expected to be a very monumental occasion with the celebrations for the recognizing the history of the Peter Robinson emigration. I know there's a number of related events that are happening throughout the summer in various municipalities, but in Douro specifically, those celebrations are happening starting July 4th through until the 6th. And we expect, in proper Douro style, there to be some wonderful fiddle music at various events, among other celebrations. So I encourage folks to check out 9ships1825.com to get the full lineup of events happening over the weekend.
Okay, thank you. And for Otonabee South Monaghan, I will, on behalf of our mayor, mention that we're having the Canada Day Parade at 10, Bouncy Castle, petting zoo, music, full day event. So please come and enjoy. But I want to put a shout out too, because each and every municipality, there is just a whole list of what's happening in the county. Go to www.thekawarthas.ca and you can get a full list of events. There's no reason to be home 1 minute leading up to this or after. And I would like to mention that Keene is also has its 200th anniversary, the village as well. So anyway, thank you to everyone and all the people that put all these events together for our communities. So. Yes, Councillor Wilford.
I just have a question to Havelock Belmont Methuen. I heard that you guys have a dunk tank. If you could just explain, and maybe a couple of people that would be on it, that you might be able to purchase balls to throw.
Thank you, Councillor Wilford. I wasn't going to go there. But given some of the discussions here this morning, there might be some councillors that are interested in this. Yes, we will be having local celebrities enter the dunk tank. I won't get into specifics of any names, but some high-ranking politicians from the area might be in the dunk tank on that day. So if any councillors would like to come down and maybe throw a ball or two, we would more than welcome you. Maybe let off some stress. So come on down to Havelock for Canada Day.
Thank you, Councillor Webb. And
you can throw it wherever you want, Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor Webb. We're only interested if the mayor and deputy mayor will be in the dunk tank. You could tell us the time period you'll be there. That would be appreciated.
So I think I think the full event for the dunk tank runs from around 11:30 to 3. Yes, I will be in the dunk tank. I was in the dunk tank last year. I'm still waiting on a response from the mayor. So if anybody would like to possibly take him aside and give him a little bit of a confidence talk, that would be nice. We had one of our other councillors, a female, she got in last year.
All right, we look forward to that.
So yeah, so as I said,
Tell her who else is there. You might as well, you said who else is. So Dave Smith.
Oh.
Dave Smith will be there. So we're beating around the bush. He said he's taking part.
That's good. We'll all be there. Thank you. All right, thank you ever so much. And there's a lot going on, a lot of fun that we're going to be having. So I will now ask our clerk to list the bylaws.
Okay, we have one bylaw on today's agenda, and that's 2025-23, and that is the borrowing bylaw for 2026.
Okay, and I need a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Amiot and seconder by Councillor Huntley. All in favor? Thank you. Our confirming bylaw, mover and seconder for that, Councillor Lambshead and Councillor Watt, all in favor? Thank you. And a motion to adjourn. Councillor Huntley and Councillor Webb.